Hello and welcome to Industry Spotlight with Creative First. Our guest today is Partner Media and Entertainment at EY, Ashish Pherwani. Ashish, welcome to this discussion.
Thanks for having me, Rohita. Always a pleasure.
You've led this year's FICCI EY report. What for you is the single biggest shift in India's media and entertainment landscape right now?
I think there are several shifts in the report, but if I were to just rank the top one for me personally, it is just the way advertising has moved to digital media. Now, 63% of all advertising spends in India, as per our estimates, are on digital platforms. And even within that, I think there are certain segments which have grown massively. For example, advertising on e-commerce platform. Our estimates show they've grown 50% over 2024. Just in 1 year, you have 50% growth. And they've reached something like 22,000 crores now. That's about 80-85% of the ad money spent on television. So you can see a new channel has just come into being. Another big driver of digital media is the long tail of SME advertisers, which tend to not always use traditional media. So they are happier spending smaller budgets, 25,000, 50,000, 1 lakh rupees on digital campaigns rather than putting, much larger budgets on large national properties. So I think we've seen that spend of digital spend by SMEs grow significantly. It's now more than 36,000 crores. So again, it's a in toto, it's a spend larger than that all TV makes. So it's a very, very big growing segment. And one of the reasons why they're spending so much is really because credit to MSMEs has gone up significantly. In 2025, 32 or 33% of all credit was given to MSMEs. And they're clearly using that to produce more and sell more. And that's why advertising grows along with that. So we're seeing a lot of interesting trends on the ad side. And that's my one take coming out of this year's report.
Ashish, in your opinion, what is the value of production incentives to attract international productions in a country?
I think the value is very high, honestly, because the more films that get shot in India, on one side, it creates a lot more employment, it creates export revenues, all of that. But apart from that, it kind of helps with film tourism. It helps with overall tourism because just like you've seen in the case of the White Lotus or the Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, people go to those locales. They love the film, they go and visit. And tourism is something that India, it's just a beautiful big country. We should be getting a lot more tourists than we do from abroad. I think that's going to be very important. So the more we can do to get large films to shoot in India, the better it will be for India across not just media and entertainment, but also tourism and all of hospitality and everything else that goes with it.
In your opinion, Ashish, and especially through all the impact reports that EVA has put out in the past, what is the value to the local industry when an international production shoots in India?
I think the value is significant more than the direct cost. There is a multiplier of 3 to 5x in terms of indirect costs. And on top of that, if it does result in tourism, I mean, look at how many Indian tourists go to Switzerland because of Dilwale. Correct? I mean, how do you calculate the value of something? Because something as epic as that can go on and derive value for Switzerland for years and years and years ahead. So that's exactly what we need to do. We need to make sure large productions get done in India so that we can reap the benefits for the next few decades, if possible.
When we were earlier talking about, making India a global content and production hub of the world, how important do you think is the federal government policy of attracting international production through incentives? And especially because you said that, now we're investing in a lot of upskilling through IICT. We also want to build infrastructure. So to attract international productions to shoot in India, how important are production incentives?
I think they are a very fundamental basic, because that's how talent comes to India. And when the best global talent comes to India, India learns. So I can't emphasize how important production treaties are. We have treaties with several countries. I think last count, more than 20, if I remember correctly, maybe even higher. I think our job as a country is to see that talent coming in to shoot and learn from it, learn the best practices, learn the ways of working, what it means to give quality content, to proof read everything, to quality check everything, and to deliver on time, and what it means to sit with the best creative minds and just be creative. I think that's when India will really find its place in the sun, when we learn from all of this.
But apart from the, co-production treaties, as you know, the production world is highly competitive, and there are really, really large productions that shoot in multiple countries. So, how important do you think an incentive is, to attract those productions here, and the competitiveness of that incentive?
So I think it's, when any country gets used in a film, which is a global production, there are pros and cons. If the country is seen in a good light, that adds to our soft power. If the country is seen as a place where you can shoot really unique sequences, because there are every country has unique locales and locations. And I think the India Cine Hub has done a fab job of documenting all of that and saying, look at all that, cool areas we have. I think that builds soft power, that builds GDP as well, because more and more countries then start coming and saying, hey, that film was shot in India. It had some really cool places. Let me check India out, and so on and so forth. So it's definitely good. But on the other side, we must ensure that India is not seen in a bad light and nothing wrong is said about India. I think that's the con over there. But if you can balance that and make sure that all the required things are seen, it's a massive win-win. It creates employment. It builds India's soft power. It just builds so much more. It just grows the media entertainment segment so much more. And of course, I'm not even talking about the film-based tourism that then, is an offshoot from that as well. So many, many benefits.
The report talks about a post-digital inflection phase. What does that actually look like for the industry today?
Like I was mentioning a little while back, I think there's a certain space that the country has reached right now, where whichever medium you're working, whether radio, TV, audio, text, whatever, there is a certain amount of consumption on traditional and there's a certain amount of consumption on digital. The digital part has been growing significantly and now it has reached scale. So when we say that it has reached a certain inflection point, what we're trying to say is that you can't ignore that digital consumption of your content. And therefore, it makes sense to figure out what's version two of that and what do you need to do to be there and be a relevant player in that. Many people are saying, radio is struggling because many phones don't come with FM receivers anymore. Some of the popular models have stopped adding those FM receivers. So is it something that the radio companies will have to figure out over the next few years? Yes, because if people cannot receive FM, they will start consuming audio on streaming platforms. So what can a radio company do in that world of streaming? I think that's where the answers lie. And therefore that many of these segments are now at an inflection point.
AI is becoming central to media and entertainment. Where are you seeing the most immediate impact?
I think AI has an impact both on revenue and cost. But as of right now, most of the impact we're seeing is on the cost side. Our estimates show that in the medium term, there would be about a 15 to 18% cost efficiency that AI can bring in on content costs. And on the revenue side, between 8 and 10% would be the revenue enhancement that comes out of it. These are our estimates of about a year or so back, probably be a percentage point here or there now since then. But like I said, the main impact is coming on the cost side. I think repeatable jobs, low level jobs are definitely getting automated at a very quick pace. Dubbing, subtitling, formatting, color correction, roto. I think all of that stuff really is getting automated based on various discussions we have had with industry VFX companies, post-production companies. There's an efficiency in each of these areas of up to 30, 40, even 50%. And therefore, we feel that right now, and at least for the next 2 to 3 years, cost will still be the mainstay in terms of the impact of AI. And this is pretty much across any kind of content. We're talking about text, video, or audio. I think AI is having an impact across all three. And again, whether it's news or entertainment or social or music, there is an impact across all genres as well. So very clear. Next 2 3 years, it's going to be all about cost on the content side.
While you're talking about costs on the content side, what do you see as the upside in terms of benefits of the craft and, the storytelling?
I think again, lots of the reason it's getting used so much is its ability to customize at scale. So we are literally moving from, you know, 200 million television screens to individual content being created for each and every person. Whether it's in thumbnails that you see, that Netflix uses customized thumbnails, for example, based on your profile and what you like, or whether it's background scores that change, or whether it's game environments that change, or whether it's the way a story is written. Some people like long form, some like short form, some like a casual interface, some like a very serious interface. I think one of the key things we're seeing is this customization of content. The other big benefit in terms of the plus side of AI is just the amount of variety that you can do for something like an advertisement. We've seen some of those wonderful ads that Mondelez released, Cadbury's, where they were able to localize advertising across language. They were able to localize advertising across, even mentioning stores based on how you were in which geography you were located. I think just the wow factor of that level of advertising becoming so beautifully targeted. I think that's the other upside that AI can really go to. And probably the last one is your audience can actually determine what content it wants to watch. For example, I'm a huge fan of the car chase scenes in the movie called Ronin. I don't know if you've seen that, but there's some insanely awesome car chase scenes. I'd love to see that car chase scene maybe in Dharavi in Bombay. If I could use AI to recreate content, or if I want to watch a movie or I want to hear a song that was sung by Kishore Kumar now being sung by Mana Day to see, oh, how will that have sounded? I think just the use cases from a customer point of view again becomes so beautiful and just unending. And I mean, of course, this is subject to copyright and a lot of other things, but it would be awesome to be able to give that level of control to the end customer to give him content exactly the way he or she wants it.
What for you is the single biggest shift in India's media and entertainment landscape right now?
Like I said, one is just, the growth of digital. But I would say that if you just take a step back and look at where we are today versus where we were, say, pre-COVID, 5 6 years ago, two things really stand out. One is the amount of time spent by us as consumers has really gone up. And the key reason for that is the growth of the smartphone ecosystem in this country. I think when you combine TV screens and smartphone screens, we are looking at, over 850 million screens over the next few years. So just the sheer explosion of the number of screens in this country is great. And what does the explosion of the small screen really mean? It means more vertical video demand, more demand for microdrama, more demand for snacky news content, more demand for music, because you can take it with you where you go. You can listen to it on the metro, on the train, on the bus, in your car. I think just the whole explosion of alternate content, not long form content, I think that's one of the biggest changes in terms of demand and consumption that's happened in India. And the second thing, apart from the change in how consumers are behaving, is actually the third of the key utilities of the media sector, which is self-expression. The consumer of content is now become a producer of content, thanks to many platforms that have come into being, whether it's Reels or it's LinkedIn or it's Shorts or whatever. And I think when that happens, people have the ability to really create stuff on their own You're not dependent on somebody to curate content, to select content for you. And just it gives wings to everybody to express themselves. And I think in today's world, the way Gen Zs and even more the Gen Alpha is, this means a lot to them. I don't think they would have been satisfied sitting and watching news that got created by a broadcaster for you. They want news the way they want it. And they want to be able to then have a point of view on it and share it with the world and hear other people's points of view. So it's just this whole self expression, is such a big change. And if you draw the line out into the future and say, okay, next 5 years, how is this going to change? I think it's just going to be so much more important for everyone to be part of the conversation. And you're going to see a lot more interactive elements, a lot more opinion, a lot more facts, figures being thrown around, a lot more community level in interactions being built over the next few years, because this is where it's going. We were always people first, and digital is giving us the ability to share our point of view with everyone, to show who we are, to express ourselves. I think that's just going to be a big, huge factor going ahead.
The report also highlights three key audience needs, which is information, escapism, and self expression. How are these reshaping content today?
I think these three needs have been there since the dawn of time. It's all about information because I needed to survive in this world and grow my career. It's all about escapism because I need a break. I need to escape into a world where beautiful dancing and singing and songs and action and horror and emotion is there. And I need self expression because that's what makes me feel happy about myself. It's like self actualization. In all three cases, these use cases have been there forever. You would go and see a cinema, you would go and see a play, you would get your escapism from there. You would go to a theater and watch a movie, get your escapism from there. You'd read the newspaper, you'd get your information from there, so on and so forth. Now, it's just that all this has been democratized massively through the adoption of social media, vertical video, even business posts, platforms like LinkedIn or whatever. And the ability to achieve your goals has become much easier and in your hand. So it's just that if I am still serving these three basic needs, say I'm a newspaper, I'm serving the need of information, right? Can I have a page three which serves the need of escapism? Of course I can. Can I then go on and build a community and get in members and help them with their self expression? I definitely can do as well. So it's all about experimentation to see how you have certain skill sets or you can acquire certain skill sets as a media company and then go and maximize on these three basic use cases. I think there's enough and more innovation that we've seen, and I can assure you we've not seen anything yet. There's still going to be so much more innovation in this space. And you're going to see so many crazy new models come out of how escapism will come on board. The way gaming, for example, has proliferated with engagement between players happening during games. Now, who would have thought of that? Correct? So again, you're taking each medium and trying to meet these three use cases in different ways. So I can assure you there's going to be so much more innovation that we're going to see around all these three basic fundamentals of media. It's going to be so much fun. The next decade is going to be really where media comes into its own. And with XR and augmented reality, that the kind of innovation that you're going to see with new headsets, new gaming console, more powerful chips, processing capacity, higher speed broadband. I mean, there's going to be just so much more in all three of these cases that we're going to see.
Digital has now overtaken traditional media. What does this shift mean to legacy players?
So I think India is one of those markets where legacy is still doing well. It's not collapsing or anything like that. TV is still the largest medium and reaches a mammoth 745 million people. That's humongous. Print is actually growing in revenue. Radio is still a very integral part of life. I think what legacy media is doing is it's adapting to the changing consumption as they should. right? Today, if I'm watching large screen television at home now, whether it's coming from cable or DTH or hits or broadband, the point is that it's still content coming into a large screen into my house. And how the industry is managing this change is really where the magic lies for the next 5 years. Are they able to sell the viewership together, or are they selling it separately? Are they able to get the same monetization around it? If you have the benefits of digital distribution for linear TV content, then how are you using those benefits? Like, are you able to better target those audiences for advertisers? Are you able to give more choice, open more fast channels? I think it's about rethinking the benefits of digital consumption of the linear content. That really is where the magic will lie and the innovation we will see over the next few years.
Ashish, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. As you have rightly said, the future of India's media and entertainment industry will be defined not just by scale, but by adaptability, innovation, and deeper audience connection.
Absolutely. You've got it bang on. Thank you for having me.